What's going on, guys? Alexander Tosser. Welcome back to Game Time 123. We are in NBL. We are into week 11 next week for the NBL League. There were quite a few teams that were in a very weird positions last week, and there are teams now that they're done. They're out of they're actually out of the season. Let's go and take a look at these last couple weeks. Two teams have been eliminated from the NBL. The Falcons and the Ravens have both been eliminated. Both of them have no wins. Falcons have half a win. They tie with the Athen, but they have not got a win. They did not have a win. The other side, four teams have been eliminated. One team's on the edge. The Tex, the Packers, the Athen, and the Werewolves have all been eliminated from the playoffs at this time. The Beagles are very close to it, but they're safe right now. If they win this week, they will probably still have a chance. But these are all these teams have it. If we take a look at the main games that happened last week, we'll start off, we had the Panthers in the Saints game. That was a huge game. It actually being a high score game, 155 to 152 in overtime. That was what happened in that game. It was a very, very close game. It did take all the way to the end of that game before anything happened. Some other games are really one-sided. The Cardinals beat the Tex with a complete blowout. In a close game, we had the Supermen and the Bobcats. Both Bobcats did end up winning that game, just by a few. The Jets and Lynx both demolished the players they were playing against, the teams they were playing against. UNC demolished the Athen, basically meaning the Athen got eliminated. Now, right now, there is a little bit of a different story, more of a position now. The Panthers still number one in the league when it comes to the offense, but they're now number 4 when it comes to defense. Not number 1 anymore, but because they did allow a lot of points when they faced off against the Saints this week. Now, this is currently the playoff position right now, if the playoffs were to happen right now. Now, as I said, both of the Falcons and the Ravens have been eliminated from the playoffs. They just don't have a chance to make playoffs. The current team, they would have to win all 6 of their games. The Falcons would have to win all 6 of their games in order to actually have a chance of making the playoffs. And unfortunately, there are 2 teams that are in that position. The Kings are in that position, and the next closest team is the Legends. And because the Legends can still make the playoffs, they cannot make the playoffs. On the other side, we have both the winless teams. They are gone. All 3 of the winless teams are gone at this point. The Athen are still gone. That's mostly because the Supermen, who are currently the 4th seed, currently the Bobcats being the 8th seed, are all eliminated. They would have to win more games than they have the ability to do. They have to win at least 6 games, 6.5 games to make it to the playoffs. Same thing with the Werewolves. Werewolves would have to need at least 6 games, and they have to win all of them on top of this. So basically making that they are eliminated. Going into week 11, we have a couple of really interesting games to start us off. We have the Kings and the Dragons. Pretty good game between these 2 teams. It's going to be an absolute blowout. The Kings should absolutely win that game. The Kings are in a position, they're a lot better, in a lot better position. That could make it difficult for the Dragons to make the playoffs, but we are looking at it in the future. Dogs and Knights. I believe the Dogs and Knights phase at least one other time this season, and they are going to blow it. The Panthers have already beaten them twice. They're already eliminated from that portion. The Dogs not eliminated yet from the playoffs, but are almost. If they lose this week, they will be eliminated from the possibility of having of winning, making the playoffs, and for sure making the division. Right now, the Dogs are currently 7 games behind, so they can't even win the division anymore. So if they lose this week, they are likely eliminated from the playoffs. Even though it makes sense. That will also mean that if any of these teams, if the Dragons, the Browns, the Dogs, or the Dogs lose this week, they will be eliminated from the playoffs. At least that's what I'm going to say. Dogs and Pirates might have a chance with a win or a tie, but the Browns and Dragons are both probably going to be eliminated from the possibility of the playoffs in the context of making it into the wild card. Making a division might be a little more easier. They can't. No, Browns can't do it at this point in time. The Pirates also can still do it. Pirates still can do it with 3 wins, but the Browns will be eliminated from the playoffs if they lose this week for sure. Moving on now to the Cardinals and Giants. I like to see the Cardinals and Giants doing it really well. It's going to be a very one-sided game. I am going to pick the Cardinals to win this game. Back in the Pirates, I'm going to go with the Pirates losing this game. I think it's going to be a very one-sided game. We get to look at the Foxes and Ravens. Neither one of these teams in the position. Ravens can't make playoffs. Foxes are probably in a position where they can make the playoffs, but they're probably not going to. They're in the position of the playoffs right now, but it's going to be very tough. I'm going to pick the Falcons to win this game. This is probably a week. It's going to be easier for me to pick any of them. Browns and Bulldogs. This is a tough one. The Browns actually must win this game. And I can say they are not going to. It's going to be the Bulldogs to win this game. It's probably going to be a very close game. And the Browns are favored in that game. But, unfortunately, they're probably eliminated from the playoffs at this time. Warriors and Otters. Another really tough game. It's going to be the Otters to win this game. The Otters won't clinch at this point. The Otters down here are at 9-1. It's going to be the Otters and Leafs game. I'm not sure they'll play again, but it will probably give them a good position to actually lock their position in the playoffs if they do win this week. We got the Saints and the Angels. This game should be a pretty good game. And for me, it's going to be the Saints to win this game. And the Saints are really dominating. They had a hard time. They had a really good game. They actually came back in the game against the Panthers to basically to force it into overtime. They were down by, they were down by 13 points with just 2 minutes to go, and they ended up coming back to make it sure they stayed in the game to put it into a tie. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Panthers still won that game. We have the Tex and Bobcats, giving the Bobcats to win that game. There's just no chance. Dolphins and Falcons. Dolphins will win this game. And some of these games are going to be easier just because of the context that it's not hard. It's not going to be hard. Stars and Huskies. Now, I think this is a divisional game. Stars and Huskies are a divisional game. Both of them are kind of fighting in a position where they try and make playoffs. If the Stars lose, they probably are going to be in a position where they might not even make the playoffs. Huskies, with a win, could still probably make the playoffs, but it will be pretty tough. Unfortunately, it is not going to be the Huskies' week. It's going to be the Stars that win this game. That is how I'm going to predict it. We have Superman and the Beagles, another pretty tough game. There's another Superman, Beagles. They're on the opposite end, and the Beagles must win this week. Superman win this week. They are not clinch the division, but they will clinch a playoff spot if they win this week. Even though it would be the fourth seed. Give me the Supermen to win this game. It's UNC and the Colts. UNC and the Colts. Tough one. And I am going to say right now, Colts are going to come back and win this game. Very tough one. It is, however, going to have to be UNC to win this game. I really like to say the Colts have a good chance, but unfortunately, it isn't going to be their game. Werewolves and Jets. Okay, well, that's not going to be the Jets will win this game. And I believe if the Jets win, they will clinch a playoff spot. They would go to 11. They will not clinch a playoff spot, believe it or not, because of the context of one thing. They will clinch a playoff spot only if Bobcats, if all the wildcard teams lose, which unfortunately is going to make it very difficult. It's going to be the Bobcats and the Lions both have to lose in order for them to potentially clinch, and it's probably not going to happen. I will say right now the Jets probably aren't going to clinch this week, but are going to be really close. We have the Leland Cats and the Lightning. Give me the Leland Cats in this game. The Leland Cats are in a lot better position, and it's going to be a very, very good game. Indians and the Athen. Right now, we got the Athen already eliminated from the playoffs. They can't make the playoffs as it is. And the Indians can still make the playoffs, but it's going to be very tough. They have a really bad offense. Defense is okay, but it's not the best. For me, the Athens are so much worse. Give me the Indians to win this game. We have the Lynx and Packers. Packers are eliminated. Lynx are really trying to make it, and with the Lynx winning this week, they will likely clinch a spot in the playoffs. Maybe not divisional, but they will be very close to making a playoff spot if they do, in fact, win this week. They still have to fight off against the Otters and win that game against another game against the Otters, but right now they're pretty close to doing it. We have the Hawks and the Tigers. Another game is really tough for me. I'm going to pick the Hawks win this week. The Tigers had a really hard time. Hawks are doing a lot better. I'm going to say the Hawks are better overall. It's going to be a very close game. I think the Hawks are going to win this game. And that, my friends, is not going to be the game of the week. But the Lions and Chargers game, I believe, is going to be the game of the week. Lions. Never mind. Lions are 7-3. The Chargers are 4-6. It's just not going to be that kind of game. To me, it's going to be the Lions all game long. Last week we had the Legends and the Panthers. Panthers win this game one side without any question. The one game that's going to be the game of the week is going to be very, very tough. It is going to have to be two teams that are pretty much fighting for a playoff spot. It is going to be the Saints, the Stars, and the Huskies, both in the same division. So, Stars, Huskies, both of them are kind of fighting for their playoff spot, it being a possibility of the playoff spots. Neither one of them are in the playoffs right now, so we'll see what happens in that, if that does incur. Right now, I'm going to say talk about the few teams I think are in the these teams, who I think are going to be in the playoffs. I'm going to say the Panthers, the Saints, the Tigers, I think actually all the teams in the playoffs that are currently in the playoffs, I think are going to make the playoffs. With the exception, I do not think the Hawks or the Kings, I don't think it will be the Hawks that make the playoffs. I actually think we're going to go down and say that the Legends will make the playoffs. So I think it's going to be, that's what I think, those are the teams I think are going to make the playoffs here, but it's going to be very tough, and I can see any of these teams making the playoffs. I can even see the Angels, the Bulldogs, or the Indians making the playoffs, but right now I do think it's going to be it's going to be these 8 teams. On the other division, I think that we have already decided what teams are making the playoffs, with the exception of with one exception. There's no exception, to be honest. I think these are the exact teams that are going to make the playoffs in the end. Now, if it's going to be that order, it might be a little bit different because I think the Otters, the Lynx, and the Lions will all be kind of fighting for that number 2 seed. But I do think this is exactly what teams are going to make it into the playoffs. Of course, we still have ways to go for that. We still have 4 weeks before that. And look back at my prediction, the playoffs for last year, just going for it. They point out that the teams, these were the teams that made the playoffs last year. To put it this way, if you look back at the division, this one, the teams I don't think are going to make the playoffs, Browns are going to miss. They were in there last year. Falcons are going to miss. They were in there last year. They're definitely missing. We were doing that one. The Dragons are probably going to miss. So we have 3. So we have, to put it this way, I'm going to put these in bold for a second. These teams are all missing the playoffs for sure. The ones that are in bold now. The Jets made the playoffs actually as the 8th seed, and the Jets actually won last season. The Warriors already are probably eliminated from the playoffs. Are they eliminated? I don't think they're eliminated yet. They're not yet eliminated from the playoffs. They can make it still, but the Werewolves are eliminated right now, so there actually is only one team eliminated for sure in the ABL. But there's plenty of teams left. There's 4 teams that are pretty much eliminated in the upper division. So we'll see how that works out for this week. I'm going to go ahead and put this all back into regular position. These will be what I think this would happen last year. And based on the context here, Knights won it, and no team in NBL history has gone every single game since the merge over in 2016. The closest team to doing so was the Panthers, and that was a couple years ago. UNC also was up there before. That is it, though, for this week. I think it's going to be a very interesting week. And in my opinion, I think, looking at all these things, it's going to be very tough. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be gone this next week if they're not already gone. That is all for this video from Sports Hour, the NBL for week 11. I will see you guys next week for week 12.